Hey everybody, and welcome back. I decided, now I was going to originally start reviewing the, excuse me, I have my retainer in, reviewing the custom figures, but unfortunately some of them are not here yet. Um, and so I don't quite have 31 lined up, so I'll probably be aiming for November now for that. I'm still going to do the other stuff as well, including the World War III Ultimate Battle Royal. The winner of that will be announced in the future. But I decided to break this down a little bit because I know I'm probably not the only person who might do that. Maybe I am the only person who does this. I don't know. I know that people do have fig feds. They usually have favorites. They usually have, storylines in their mind, whatnot. I see it on YouTube channels all the time. And I think I mentioned that mine is completely by chance. I roll dice to decide the fate. So if that's the case, then why are belts? How do they work in a point system? Well, I'm gonna explain that to you. So first, I have to understand the brand point value. The WWF and the WWE, the Ultimates, they get 300 points a win. They get 300 a main event appearance. AEW goes to 200. Now, you're thinking, well, that's not fair. You're already, giving the handicap to everybody else. There is a highest ranked person, but reality is everybody in every brand gets their highest ranked person, and they all have the same prize, so to speak. I thought about doing it that way, but then really the funny thing is you have like possibly Eugene or something being the highest ranked person. I'm not saying that's the case. There's always, I'll explain it in further detail as well. But, you can't compare Impact Wrestling to WWE Wrestling and say they're both on the same level. So the idea is that an Ultimate is more top tier. Um, Even the custom ones are still top tier compared to like, say, a Ring of Honor figure or one of those FTC figures. So that's how I kind of compare the point system. I'm just allowing you to to see in case you're wondering. AEW's got 200, and then of course Elite Plus. I also categorize them at 200 as well. AEW does have Supreme mixed in because you can't. There's 3, 4 guys tops. Um, Some may also wonder I don't have any female titles on there. I don't click the women wrestlers. I used to. Unfortunately, as they get old, as they get on the years, they tend to break. The arms are skinnier. The plastic is not as durable, even posing wise, and it just becomes a nightmare. So I got rid of all the females. They're always constantly trying to change them up anyway. So it also saves me a bunch of money because a lot of these WWE wrestling female figures, some of the older ones, can go for a hefty amount of money. Even the newer ones. I know people are clamoring right now for that Bianca Belair that they showed and Asuka. So I know it's an all male sport in this federation. But so the world champions. So if you are the world champion in the dice roll, then you're guaranteed the main event pay per view always. For that goes to the WWF, the WWE, the WCW, and the AEW because that's the only ones I do pay per views for. Um, when the world heavyweight belt comes available, the Seth Rollins it comes with in the future, that's going to guarantee you main event of 2 regular shows. So winning the belt, so to speak, gives you a guarantee of having more matches on the card and earning more points potentially. Main events that are non-pay-per-view shows like Impact, NXT, when you're the world champion, you're guaranteed the main event slot at the shows because they don't have the pay-per-view boost. I don't do pay-per-views for all the brands. It'd be too much hassle. And then OW or ODW, Open Door Wrestling titles, they're going to rotate every main event champion. So the whole card goes through. Maybe first week it'll be New Japan's IWGP title will be the main event. The next time will be the GHC will be the world title main event, or the Japan Pro Wrestling will be the other main event, or the United Wrestling Association could be the main event that week. The BCA and the NXW, which the NXW is on its way out. I've got pretty much 3 or 4 people left in that one before I move them off to Impact or quote custom figures, such as Petey Williams and Shinshi, uh, Raven, and Chase Stevens. So yeah, those. Oh, and yeah, because Chris Sabin's in TNA. So yeah, those are like pretty much the last of those figures. Once those guys are gone, that one will be gone as well. So since they don't have belts, they're never in any main event spot. It's almost like they're opening card dark matches. The middleweight champions. So you got, you're guaranteed 2 shows and spot on the pay-per-view card to defend your title if applicable. Um, you get 1 main event regular show a month if you're the middleweight champion. But of course, with non-pay-per-view brands, you're guaranteed a match each week on the card. So since I limit the rosters, being the champion kind of guarantees you on the card. Losing the belt could mean you're no longer on the card for a while. How the cards work. So Ultimate gets 5. I set up 5 matches based on look at the roster sheet, and I kind of try to compare it almost like in a ranking system. Obviously, though, if you're the world champion, you're in the main event spot. Now, of course, with Ultimates, you're not guaranteed the main event spot on each card. Only the pay-per-view card's guaranteed because again, you would just monopolize. It'd be too daunting. I try to make it a little bit fair for undercard guys to come up. But there's a 5-match card, 7 pay-per-view cards. So you get 7 matches on the pay-per-view card. Since NXT, ECW, all of them don't have pay-per-views. They just get a little higher card. So like each show will be 6 matches. It doesn't have to be 6 one-on-one matches, just 6 matches all together. I'm not doing interview segments. I'm not doing that kind of stuff because you're not seeing that. You're just seeing results of stuff. Where as some people will do still shots, I might do still shots here and there, but I don't have the stop motion technology nor the time to do that kind of stuff. This is like simulation. You can follow along if you want to take my rules or if you want to take how I do things and make it your own. Go ahead. As you see, though, the Open Door Wrestling, full participation from all brands, but there's only a few shows a year with that one. I'm only doing I think 6 to 7 shows compared to everybody else who's getting a weekly show. It's almost like it's a big extravaganza indie event, if you will, almost like a WrestleCon situation. So here's the card matches. NWA, there's a lot of people in the Ring of Honor and the NWA cards, so I tend to layer it down to like 8 per card. That gives people something to aim for. So the lowest ranked champions, though, even though they're the lowest ranked titles, like the Hardcore and the 24/7 title, they actually still are guaranteed a match at every show and a pay-per-view to defend the title. Now it's not the main events of any of the shows, but it's at least a guaranteed shot on the card. Same with the WWF and the WCW TV titles. Basically, you've got these titles as well. So essentially, they're both because if I remember correctly, the Hardcore technically is the lowest. TV titles though are guaranteed a match every week, and the pay-per-view as well to defend it. I did mess up. I was supposed to put also an AEW belt, which would probably be the TBS Championship. The TBS Championship. I know it's the women's championship, but it looks so cool. I like light blue. I'm a sucker for light blue. And I had the belt, I had the TNT, and I had the TBS, so why not? That would be the lowest ranked card belt. That is until the FTW belt shows up. And then that's going to be kind of like the lowest ranked belt because, it's kind of like, the TNT and the TBS are representing brands. So actually, I think I'm going to take the TBS title and make that more of that undercard, dark show, top tier belt for those guys. The Impact, of course, will be the Impact X Division, the TNA X Division Championship. Those belts are not the lowest ranked, but they can actually be used to cash in the championship to challenge for the world titles of their brands. Kind of like how Impact did in real life. So winning that belt, you can decide to then immediately cash it in. Of course, you have to vacate the title. But I only limit it to only once every 3 months. So if you're the champion for 3 months, then you can cash in your belt. Obviously, or 3 months. Well, since it's not pay-per-view, I actually cut it down. Yeah, 15 shows. If you're the champion for 15 shows, you can then cash in for the world title. So let's see if that ever happens. And then if you're wondering how a Rumble works, or World War III, or the Battle Royal works, because again, I'm not, setting up favorites here. I'm not making the flavor of the month the world champion. The dice sometimes can have an interesting, aspect. I know when I used to do this back when I was younger, just to do something different. I think I had Conan defeat The Rock back when I used to mix and match the figures when they were, when I was way younger. If memory serves me correctly, Evan Bourne went in from number 3 in a Grand Rumble and actually won and became world champion at the main event. And I wish I had those records still because it was kind of funny. I mean, at the time I was doing like little artsy stuff on folders, naming pay-per-views, had pay-per-view cards. A buddy of mine was like, "Dude, this is cool to watch or read through." Maybe we're just giant nerds. I don't know, but it's just several roll dice. Now I just go down the list. So like, let's say if it's a battle royal, I've got all the people right there. I'm rolling the dice, um, and if they get a one, then they're out. They get thrown out. I do keep track of who threw somebody out though during a rumble though. So the way it works is I'll roll the dice. Let's say there's like 5 guys in the ring. I'll roll the dice. The highest dice is the person who's going to be eliminated. Anybody gets a 1. So and if it's a tie, then both those guys get the because we've seen the Royal Rumble people work together. You've seen 8 guys throw 1 guy out. You've seen 2 guys throw 1 guy out. So they both get the elimination. Nice thing is when you get the eliminations, you actually get a 50-point bonus. I forgot to add that in there. So you could go into it from number 1, stay till near the end, not win, but still rack up some good points based on your eliminations. Which in real life, that's kind of how the rumbles work. When you've got somebody who kind of cleans out the rumble, you tend to remember that person during that rumble. So in the final 4 of it though, you do get points. So if you're the final 4, if you're the 4th man, 3rd man to go before the winner, you get a 100-point guaranteed bonus. 3rd man's 300. Runner up is 500. And you notice the winner is 2,000. So yeah, you get 2,000 points. Essentially, almost half of the equivalent to world title for the WWE brand when it comes out. But essentially, you're getting 2,000 points. So that's a big spike up. Because hey, the Royal Rumble's memorable, and it's a hard thing to do. But what about like King of the Ring? Well, King of the Ring, I tend to do that with the WWF and the WWE brand. Obviously, I call it King of the Ring for the WWF brand, Master of the Ring for the WWE brand, because they don't use King of the Ring anymore, and I want to differentiate between the two. But you got the qualifiers. So I looked at the list. Champions, world champions are excluded, of course, but everybody else is fair game. So I go right down the list from the top, number 2 all the way to number 17, and those are the qualifying guys. So these, the brands are working to try to get those points. You got the qualifier gets 100 points. Then the final 8, the people who survive, they get their win bonus, but then they also get a bonus 200 points for getting to the quarterfinals. Then they go on and get to the semifinal, they get their win, and then they get their win bonus of now up to 300 points just for being in the semifinal. And then if you were to, of course, get down to the final 2, the runner-up, so essentially the semifinals is down to 2-on-2, and it goes down to the finals, and then there is no bonus for just the finals. It's just the runner-up will get 400, the winner gets 1,000, and of course guaranteed title shot at like a future pay-per-view event. Again, these are usually only used for like tournaments for the higher up brands. Lower cards tournaments just take place as is. And you're on why? Why do I do this? It's just something I do. I've been collecting since I was 8. I decided to try something different instead of scripting and choosing favorites, which I used to do all the time. But the problem is when you choose that kind of stuff, you let the bias kind of go through, and before you know, you got CM Punk's a 25-time world champion. I just did this because it's completely random. I have to roll with the punches. And then, of course, after 52 shows, I kind of hold like a little ceremony to see who had the most wins. I'm intrigued. I'm a stats person. If you couldn't tell from my previous videos, losses, title wins, title defenses, main event appearances, main event wins, pay-per-view wins, all that kind of stuff. So it's interesting to see because obviously the lowest ranked 5 people are fired and replaced by 5 figures on standby. Now this goes for any of the brands that have a roster limit. So notice you'll see like NWA and Ring of Honor are not on that list because them along with TNA and I don't they don't have a cutoff limit. I don't do a roster. I guess I could, but since I'm trying to update them anyway to the customs anyway, there's no real point. Might as well just let them run the course. But like WWF, WWE, AEW, WCW, even not NXT, yeah NXT too, and ECW. They actually do get people, because I can always replace them with. I got so many other elites that are standing by. So I like to keep it a little fresh, bring in some new talent, that kind of thing. Obviously, the ECW guys will get upgraded to the NXT brand, and then I'll bring in 5 new people from entirely in the back doing nothing. So that's why I kind of invented that ECW brand. And then at the end of it, though, the highest ranked guy, the highest ranked superstar, the highest point value, he gets a 6-month vacation. Um, Basically, he's not involved in any matches. It's like he's on a vacation. It's like his prize. It's so basically other people can catch up. If I had the highest ranked person and they gave him a bonus like 10,000 points or something like that, they would never drop down. They would always have that huge gap, and it would always be them. They're already going to have like a decent thing because there is a 5,000 point bonus. But the 6 months will be going away. So with the higher ranks and the world titles, you never know. They could come back and they could be in third by then. Now, of course, you're probably thinking, well, that's unfair because WWE and the Ultimates get all the all the attention. They have the highest point value. Um, that doesn't mean that the other groups are just screwed out from beginning. The highest rank of every brand will actually still get a world title shot. They still get their shot. And again, I'm comparing it, like I said, in the real world, you're not going to have WWE on par with the local indie federation. You're going to think, wow, this indie guy is so much better than The Rock or some Stone Cold or something like that. No. So, really, I guess I fuel storylines more on just the WWF side of things. AEW, of course, I'm still interested in AEW as well. And then, of course, you got the NXT and you got WCW brands. But now, of course, if they're already champion, leaving the company or going on their 6-month vacation, then they drop the belt, they vacate it, or they can stay on and I usually just have them vacate the belt. They go on their break, they get to come back, guaranteed rematch. If they weren't the champion and they go on their break, they can come back. They got a guaranteed world title shot when they come back. So that's why I kind of do this. It's just kind of fun for me. I'm just sharing it. Again, I'm not sitting there going, subscribe to my channel, like this stuff. Come on, guys, I need more rating. You don't like it, you don't have to like it. I do it for me. So that's why I do it. Stay tuned for, of course, Big Fed news at the end of the week coming up. I got a bunch of new people coming in. I will be doing custom figure reviews in the future if you've stayed and listened to the whole video. So, and if you have any, suggestions or comments or think I should try something like this, or how does a Money in the Bank match work or anything like that, feel free to ask. I'll tell you how I kind of do it.